I uninvited my mill after she disrespected our boundaries again. Now I became anxious she might show up anyway for our kids' event. This is my initial post here, and while the title essentially reveals what you need to know, I seek a space to navigate some anxiety I have regarding this matter. Apologies for the lengthy post, but context is necessary for this situation. My husband, 31 years old, and I, 30 years old, have been together for 14 years and married for almost 7. To simplify things, I will employ fictitious names. I will refer to my husband as John and my mother-in-law as Carol. We share 2 children, a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. There is a significant amount of background regarding my mother-in-law, 60 years old. Some key points include her and her current husband isolating me from John and claiming I would never be a part of the family after an argument I had with her elder son, my brother-in-law, 35 years old. We'll call him Rob, after which she chose to fight his battle for him. While Carol was berating me for not being worthy, her husband was sitting with a gun on his lap, pointed at me. Carol also locked John out of the house following an argument, only permitting him to return if he agreed to a curfew, and allowed her access to his computer and phone, which she had already been hacking into to read private conversations. John was 22 at the time. Furthermore, my parents permitted him to stay with us for 2 months until we found a place together. To illustrate further insanity, Carol expressed a desire to be the mother of my eldest child, explaining why she constantly undermines my parenting and attempts to control how we raise them. Additionally, Carol has a troubling tendency to discuss her issues with John and me with everyone except us. Keep this in mind as the story unfolds. While she has not been formally diagnosed, every therapist John and I have consulted, therapy has been a tumultuous journey, yet worthwhile. It's individual therapy, not couples therapy, has indicated that she appears to be a classic narcissist with unresolved trauma stemming from an emotionally abusive marriage. This background is pertinent to the story. Rob got married in November 2024. After considerable anxiety and emotional turmoil, I decided not to attend as I did not feel safe at the event. There would be individuals present who have verbally threatened me, stalked me, and threatened to expose my parents' home because Carol had informed everyone that I am a dishonest person who took her son away. Thus, my children and I did not attend. However, John was part of the wedding. According to him, the ceremony went smoothly, but the reception was where things unraveled. Carol boasted to John that she had single-handedly organized the reception, including the decorations, table settings, and seating chart, which was not true. It was all arranged by the bride's family. However, when John was searching for his seat at the family table, he found none available. Instead, he was placed at a table for 8, completely alone. Feeling hurt, he opted not to create a scene and chose to leave. He bid farewell to out-of-town relatives and the bride and groom but refused to hug his mother. Carol did not appreciate this and followed him outside. They were alone, except for his brother, who wanted to ensure John was all right. Carol blocked the door, refusing to let him leave until he explained why he wouldn't hug her and why he was departing so early. Dinner had not even been served yet. Calmly, John told her that they were not having this discussion at that moment. It was Rob's day, and they could talk later. Carol was relentless, and eventually, after a standoff, John reiterated that he was hurt to be alone and excluded once more a sentiment that reflects his lifelong feelings of exclusion due to considerable family and childhood trauma. He managed to sneak past her only after another family member distracted Carol. To make matters worse, we were subsequently excluded from all other family events, including time with John's cousins from out of town, whom we rarely see because of the distance. John chose not to engage with Carol about these issues, and his therapist concurs with this decision. To clarify, no family members were aware that we were being excluded from events. Carol claimed we were busy. John has not engaged with his mother since Christmas. When he did see her, he did not speak to her or engage with her in any way. At every event, a birthday party, our 4-year-old school activities, and holiday gatherings, Carol would appear teary-eyed and act sorrowful. People would inquire about what was wrong, and we would explain that John had set a boundary and wasn't speaking with her, while she played the victim for attention. Fast forward to just a few days ago, I have been the point of contact. I invited her to our 4-year-old school event, where the children would perform a song and dance in front of the entire school. I established a boundary, requesting that she respect John's space and present a cheerful demeanor so everyone could enjoy the day without wondering why she appeared upset. She agreed to this. Our 1-year-old was a bit wild that day, so John stayed at the back with them, while I moved to the front to record a video of our 4-year-old. At this event, there were 4 of us. Me, John, Carol, and my mother, 56 years old. Our 4-year-old and the class performed wonderfully, very charming. However, afterward, my mother parked next to us and pulled me aside, informing me that Carol had made a comment to her while we were away. My mother stated that Carol was upset that John still wasn't speaking to her and couldn't understand why. Knowing all the details and respecting John's decision to stay disengaged, my mother replied that it was unfortunate but redirected her attention to the performance. She understands and respects our boundaries, choosing not to involve herself in matters that do not concern her. I took a couple of days to reflect and determine a course of action. I decided to text Carol again, expressing my discontent that she tried to discuss the issues between her and John with my mother once more. This marks the 3rd time Carol has done this. Each time she speaks with my parents, they reiterate that it is our decision and she must respect it. You would think she would learn by now, yet she has not. Thus, I texted her to prevent her from going behind our backs again regarding my parents and placing them in this awkward position. Or once again acting sorrowful because she isn't getting her way with John. In short, I told Carol that I found it disrespectful and inappropriate for her to discuss the matters between her and John with my mother. It is not her place to involve her in such matters, and by doing so, she is disregarding her son's boundary, as he has requested space to process everything that has transpired. By being impatient, she will only drive him further away. She replied briefly, stating that she had not conversed with my mom about it, merely that she made a comment aloud which my mother overheard. She added that my mom expressed that life is too short to hold grudges. Furthermore, Carol asserted that she is not disrespecting John, as she believes he will approach her when he is ready. She justified that he would have heard her comment since he was next to her at the time. My response was, no, my mother stated that it was unfortunate. I reiterated that she did indeed disrespect our boundaries concerning John's need for space, and yet again discussed our issues behind our backs. To this, she stated, "Your mom engaged with me, and I simply made a passing remark, not intending to start a conversation." I replied, "I dislike the implication that you are suggesting my mother lied to me, as I know she would not misrepresent her words in this context. She has countless other responsibilities and does not need to be entangled in your issues. Acknowledge your mistake and demonstrate respect for the boundaries we have established." In retaliation, she responded with a spiteful, passive-aggressive remark. "I did not say she lied. I will not be disrespected." And so our discussion ended. However, John read the messages and was infuriated, as my parents have treated him like their own and he feels protective of them. He sent her a lengthy message, summarizing that she, Carol, is out of line and disrespecting both his wife and my in-laws. He stated that he is not prepared to talk yet, but she is testing his limits, and she would not appreciate the consequences if he were to message her again. He admonished her to start respecting our boundaries or there would be repercussions. She has yet to respond to that, or to the subsequent message he sent after we further discussed the matter. We both reached the consensus that conversing with Carol isn't proving beneficial. We need distance. Therefore, since she violated 3 boundaries at the recent event, John's necessity for space, being positive for the event, and not discussing Carol's grievances about us with others while we are absent. For those needing a reminder, this has been addressed with her previously, multiple times. We withdrew her invitation to our 4-year-old's upcoming event. The concern is that I now feel anxious because Carol is the type who could just show up regardless of our wishes. I want to relish my children's special moment. Honestly, this whole situation is draining to the extent that I'm contemplating no contact. For those wondering, I have my reasons for avoiding no contact at this moment. Foremost among them is that my 4-year-old particularly enjoys a strong bond with their grandmother, Carol. I wish to grant my children the autonomy to choose whom they wish to engage with. Unless we witness something hazardous or abusive, as we did with John's biological father, We desire for them to make their own choices as they grow old enough to do so. I understand that not everyone may align with this perspective, and it may not be the healthiest outlook, but it is a matter that John and I have deliberated extensively both prior to and following the arrival of our children. It is also a topic I am addressing with my therapist. Carol is also the type of individual likely to contact Child Protective Services or make outrageous claims or pursue legal action because she feels entitled to our children. I am apprehensive and working on it, but I kindly request that you respect the process we are undergoing to establish balance in our lives. So, Reddit, could you assist me in alleviating my anxiety and clarify whether I am in the wrong or whether my reactions are justified? Story 2. I moved in with Karen, but it turned chaotic. She forced plans, claimed my new dog, and tried to control my life. Time to go. Am I the jerk for wanting to stop all communication with my friend after I leave her home? I am a 20-year-old female who relocated from Florida to live with my friend, whom I will refer to as Karen, a 30-year-old female, in Philadelphia. I moved in after a confrontation with another friend, which led to my being threatened after my mother kicked that friend out for breaking house rules. So it wasn't my fault. Initially, the first month and a half with Karen went smoothly. We got along well, and everything felt fine until it didn't. I possess a car and a driver's license, while she does not even have a learner's permit, so I allowed her to practice driving my car. However, I quickly realized that I will never allow her behind the wheel again. She was awful, and I had to grab the steering wheel multiple times to prevent her from crashing into the curb. When I expressed that I didn't want her to continue practicing in my car, she became furious and started arguing with me. This situation marked the beginning of our problems. She began to impose plans on me and reacted angrily when I didn't comply because she failed to give me any advance notice. She would simply declare that I shouldn't make any plans for a certain day, or that she had to go somewhere at a specific time, expecting me to drop everything to take her wherever she needed to go. She would even do this on the same day. Additionally, she would knock on my door and wake me up demanding rides, despite the fact that she never offered to pay for gas while my tank was almost empty, and I had to DoorDash on a tight budget to earn money for fuel. Karen mistreats her grandmother and yells at her. Karen doesn't pay rent. Her grandmother is responsible for all the expenses, and her grandmother also financially supports Karen's pets. Although Karen works as a home health aide for her grandmother, she hardly performs her duties, just clocks in, goes back to bed, and spends time with friends while on the clock. Now, here's where the drama escalates. I planned a trip to visit my family in Florida and invited both Karen and my boyfriend, whom I will refer to as James. Things went smoothly until we arrived. There were various occasions when I wanted to spend time with my friends and family independently, and Karen got upset, claiming I was abandoning her and making a scene about it. I acknowledged that I may have been inconsiderate in this situation and eventually apologized to her. At this time, my boyfriend was taking a prescription for an ear infection. Unfortunately, he accidentally brought the wrong pill bottle and ended up with one prescribed for a rib injury sustained in a car accident a year prior. The bottles appeared almost identical. When he realized the error and accidentally left the pill bottle on my car, Karen saw it and told my mother that my boyfriend was a drug addict, which is untrue. The news eventually reached him because she came to me about it, and I corrected her, as I was the one who took him to the doctor and the pharmacy to collect that prescription. My mother got involved, and in order to clear his name, he had to show my family his medical records and prescription history. Nevertheless, Karen persisted, insisting it was his fault for allowing her to believe he was abusing painkillers, despite the fact he had no idea he left the bottle on my car. She claimed she would not be friends with him until he apologized for his prescription medication, which I find completely irrational. He, on the other hand, feels that Karen should apologize to him for spreading untrue rumors about him being a drug addict. However, she remains adamant that he was in the wrong. Consequently, they are no longer on speaking terms. She is also upset with me for siding with him, but I genuinely believe she is in the wrong. Moreover, she approached my family members and expressed surprise that I hadn't gotten pregnant by him yet, in a disparaging tone. After this incident, communication ceased between Karen and my boyfriend, leading to an awkward and complicated remainder of our trip. Upon returning home from Florida, my issues with Karen intensified as she continued to make plans involving me without consulting me first and expressed anger when I was unable to participate or had pre-existing commitments. Our washing machine and dryer were inoperable, so we had to go to another friend's house, an ex of hers, to do our laundry. We had discussed this previously, and I informed her that I wasn't certain when I could manage it because I had recently started a new job. I told her it would need to be on a Monday, and she agreed. However, it was Saturday when I got off work, and I wanted to spend some time with my boyfriend before heading home. She called me visibly upset, claiming she had been waiting for me outside for 2 hours in cold weather and blamed me for not confirming our plans. I had no idea we had even made plans to do laundry that day, since she often decides on plans without discussing them with me first. I was deemed crucial for this plan simply because it involved my car transporting the laundry to her friend's house. All the friends within her circle are former romantic interests of hers, and she also has a boyfriend living in Ohio. When we finally went to her friend's to do the laundry, she chose to wear a highly revealing outfit. She then accused me of being responsible for her feelings and making her wait outside. When I stated that I was unaware of our plans that day, she countered that it didn't matter whether I knew, asserting that I was still wrong for upsetting her. While in Florida, I discovered that my cousin had abandoned a puppy at my mother's house 4 months prior, during which time the puppy had been locked in a crate. I mentioned to my cousin that I wanted to adopt the dog, and he granted me permission, even having me sign a bill of sale to ensure that no one else could take her. Karen became furious over this, claiming she wanted the dog, and was upset that I was the one who ended up with her, despite already having a dog of her own. She has been secretly purchasing items for my dog and telling others that the dog is hers, which upset both my family and me. Karen has now acquired another dog. Everything I do, Karen feels the need to outdo or imitate. When I mentioned training my dog to be a service animal for my heart issues, she now wants not one but 2 service dogs. After moving in with her, I had to get a new phone and phone number due to harassment. Ironically, she had just acquired a new phone 2 weeks prior and decided to also buy the same brand of phone as mine. She even expressed interest in getting the same make, model, and brand of car as me. Additionally, I have a tattoo that I got before moving in with her, and now she wants an identical tattoo. Because I have a septum piercing, she is also considering getting one, which isn't a problem since it's a small issue. However, her tendency to copy everything I do is what truly concerns me. Everyone, including my boyfriend, has expressed that she is excessively clingy and behaves as though she has a crush on me. She identifies as bisexual. Since the falling out between her and my boyfriend, she has attempted to persuade me not to spend time with him anymore, claiming abandonment on her part. Now to address the current situation. There is a 2-day festival in April called the Sakura Festival. Given that it's a 2-day event, and since my boyfriend and Karen no longer get along, I decided to attend one day with him and spend the other day with Karen and her group. She strongly disapproved of this arrangement, declaring it unfair, and insisted that I either accompany her both days or not attend at all. After discussing it with her friends, they agreed that I was wrong for wanting to go one day with my boyfriend. Keep in mind that I would be the one driving everyone to the festival after initially planning to attend both days just with my boyfriend on one of those days. Afterward, she accused my boyfriend of being abusive because I invited him to join me, asserting that he didn't respect her plans. For the record, I never intended to attend both days at first. I later decided to spend one day with my boyfriend, but she felt entitled to have me all to herself both days. She also claimed that she would be less upset if I simply went with her on one day and didn't attend the second day with my boyfriend. Today, she told me I was not permitted to spend the entire day out because I was hers today and tomorrow. I informed her I already had plans with another friend today, to which she insisted I cancel and invite that friend to our house instead of following through with my pre-existing plans. Moreover, when I picked this friend up from work and dropped her off at home, I was instructed to come home immediately after that. In all honesty, her plans consist of simply staying home to drink tea, nothing special. I find it absurd that I should have to stay home with her when I live with her and return every night. She is treating me horribly, and I am unable to tolerate the stress, especially since my grandmother recently passed away and I am having a very difficult time coping with the news. She was only 57 years old. Given all of this, am I the jerk for wanting to cease contact with her once I move out?